If you're the type who zooms into your 61 megapixel RAW files at 200%, just to check, the Sony A7R VI is probably the ghost haunting your upgrade decisions right now. The A7V has finally refreshed Sony's general-purpose lineup, leaving one very specific, very tempting hole in the roadmap. It's the kind of missing puzzle piece that creates a special kind of void, because everyone knows the next high-resolution champion is coming, but nobody knows exactly when. Let's get into the details about Sony A7R VI. The loudest rumor swirling through the community is the 80 megapixel sensor, and it's not coming out of thin air. Sony Semiconductor already demonstrated that scaling up the pixel density of Fujifilm's 40 megapixel APS-C architecture would land in the 80 to 90 megapixel range for full frame. The challenge, of course, is speed, pushing that many pixels off the sensor fast enough without turning the rolling shutter into a nightmare. But for a still-centric body, Sony may finally embrace the idea that absolute detail is more important than readout speed. If the A7R VI is positioned strictly as a high-resolution specialist, there's room to lean heavily into detail while letting the faster A12 and A9 III handle the action crowd. Beyond that sensor bombshell, the rumored feature stack follows Sony's modern playbook. Expect the Bion's XR processing engine paired with dedicated AI accelerators for subject recognition, noise handling, and more natural autofocus behavior. Auto-subject detection would likely match or exceed what Sony introduced in the A12. Birds, insects, helmets, humans, and anything else Sony's AI training can identify. Stabilization is rumored to improve to around 8.5 stops, which would be a big deal for handheld landscape work at 80 megapixels. In video, the A7R VI is expected to support 8K at 30 or 60 frames per second, plus 4K at up to 120 frames per second with full internal 10-bit color. It won't be a cinema camera, but it will absolutely be competent enough for hybrid shooters who want professional-grade output when needed. The EVF is expected to remain the high-resolution 9.44 million dot panel, potentially with better brightness and eye relief for glasses wearers. The rear LCD will likely be the newer 4-axis multi-angle touchscreen that the A7R V introduced, a mechanism that videographers and vertical shooters love, and traditionalists tolerate. File handling will rely on dual card slots supporting both CF Express Type A and SD cards, giving shooters a choice between speed and affordability. As for release timing, the A7R line has historically cycled every 3 years. The A7R V dropped in 2022. The A7V has now launched, resetting the lower tier. All signs point to the A7R VI, appearing in late 2025 with availability early 2026, unless Sony pushes it back due to lack of component readiness or internal prioritizing of video-centric models. So while we aren't knee-deep in hard leaks yet, the circumstantial evidence is building. The A7R VI is lining up as Sony's next big move. Sony isn't just designing this camera for existing alpha shooters. They're preparing it as a weapon against every major rival. Canon's EOS R5 and upcoming R5 II are the most immediate competitors, but Canon remains at 45 megapixels. If Sony really delivers an 80 megapixel sensor with modern AF and pro-level video, the A7R VI instantly becomes the dominant high-resolution full-frame body on the market. Nikon sits in an interesting spot. Nikon users are split between those who believe the Z7 line is dead, replaced by the Z8, and those who still desperately want a true stills-first Z7 III with 60 megapixel or higher. If Sony pushes aggressive resolution numbers with clean output, Nikon may be forced to either match the megapixel war or double down on stacked sensor performance instead. But the more subtle target is medium format. Cameras like the Fujifilm GFX 102 or Hasselblad X2 D100C offer unmatched tonality and dynamic range, but at the cost of slower autofocus, heavier gear, and a less comprehensive lens ecosystem. Many photographers dream of medium format, but stay in full frame for practicality. An 80-megapixel A7R6 with clean low ISO performance starts to feel like a bridge. Not a replacement for true medium format, but a close enough solution for those who want more detail without committing to new lenses, slower shutter speeds, or heavier gear. And of course, Sony has to avoid shadowing its own flagship line. The A7V is built for speed and versatility. The A7R6 will likely be built for detail and precision. Both can coexist as long as Sony keeps their identities separate. Public reaction to the A7R6 rumors has been a roller coaster. Many photographers are thrilled at the prospect of 80 megapixels, arguing that more resolution equals more flexibility, especially for landscapes, product work, and telephoto cropping. They see an A7R6 as a step toward medium format light without the medium format baggage. But there's an equally loud opposing crowd suffering from what people are calling megapixel fatigue. These photographers feel that 61 megapixel already stretches workflow, storage, buffer, and noise performance to their limits. They'd rather see Sony focus on improving dynamic range, reducing rolling shutter, enhancing color depth, or refining in-camera computational features like pixel shift and focus bracketing. Some longtime A7R users argue that the sweet spot for full frame was actually between 40 and 50 megapixels. Enough detail for cropping, but without massive file sizes or increased noise per pixel. Others worry that increasing resolution without dramatically improving sensor technology could make high ISO noise more visible and reduce shadow lifting flexibility. There are also requests for ergonomic upgrades, a top-plate info display like Hasselblad offers, better heat management for video, more durable weather sealing, and smarter lockouts to prevent accidental setting changes during long shoots. You also see skepticism toward the rumor cycle itself. Veteran forum users keep reminding newcomers that most 80-megapixel confirmed specs videos are AI-generated clickbait. People who actually know Sony's roadmap are under NDA and cannot leak anything real. Despite the conflicting opinions, the emotional takeaway is clear. Photographers are waiting. Many skipped the A7R V feeling it was a refinement rather than a revolution, and they now own lenses so sharp that 80 megapixel feels like the next logical step. So, is the Sony A7R6 truly next? Or is it just the internet echo chamber hyping itself into a frenzy? The answer feels somewhere in the middle then, but leaning toward yes. The A7V has modernized the base lineup. The A7V and A9 III cover action and global shutter innovation. The A7C2 and A7CR fill the compact niche. That leaves just one major flagship-level update missing, a high-resolution R-series powerhouse worthy of 2026. But the risk is real. Jump too far in resolution without addressing rolling shutter, noise, or workflow challenges, and the camera could feel like an overspec'd burden instead of a meaningful upgrade. Whether you're ready to commit or still playing the waiting game, one thing is certain. The A7R6 isn't just coming, and it's the next big chapter in Sony's high-resolution story. Thanks for watching.